Welcome to Scoop Order. Happy Thursday. I hope you guys are having a great week. We are closing in on the week. I appreciate all you guys that are in my group chat. It's been going crazy. Quick shout out to Devin. Devin, I hope you're feeling better. I know Devin had a little scare last night, but he's back and he's feeling good. Devin is one of our top moderators. He is Ohio 7715. Appreciate you as always. Appreciate everyone in my group chat who is on my phone blowing up each and every day. We're going to get into a huge transfer portal target, Derek Harmon, who is out of Michigan State. And it's us, Oregon, USC, and potentially returning to Michigan State if the price is right. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he likes to do. We're going to talk about that, talk about Josh Petty's visit to Ohio State. It's wrapped up. He is back home. And we're also going to take your questions. If you have questions, please send us a pay it forward. We started a bunch of new members this week, so we appreciate all you guys taking care of the people that take care of this country. With that being said, as always, we appreciate you guys. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Those all add up in a major way. Again, this show is growing dramatically because you guys, thank you guys for making this a great show, making this a big show. It's a big show because you guys made it one, not because of us, because of you guys. So we appreciate your patronage. We appreciate you guys being active in the chat. We appreciate you guys being active in the YouTube comments. Those all add up, and those are also huge for us. Again, the likes are huge for us. So again, it might seem silly to leave us a like on our YouTube video. That is also that's something that grows this channel as fast as anything. And also subscribing it, spreading the good word to your friends. We appreciate all that you guys do. Nevada, there is a lot to talk about. Today was a day where we had to kind of roll some topics around our head. Derek is obviously a guy who is a D-tackle from Michigan State. Michigan State was not good last year. They had a abysmal year with Mel Tucker getting fired early in the season. New coaching change. He is in the portal, out of the portal. He was in the portal in December, visited Ohio State, liked Ohio State, returned to Michigan State, probably got some cash to come back. Now he's back in the portal. Shopping around. What do you make of it? Because again, I think that there's something that's a little bit of a drama queen type deal when a guy hits the portal twice in 6 months after recommitting to Michigan State, maybe potentially taking their money in and out. I do not know that. I'm just kind of figuring it in my head when a kid's got much better offers to Michigan State that he returns to Michigan State. I don't know. I'm skeptical, Hippo, just like you are a lot of times on these guys. But I think that he's got a lot of talent. I think that he needs to go to the right system to have it flourish. And I think that Ohio State is a favorite to win the national championship. So Ohio State makes a lot of sense. But if you look at the list, he's got Colorado. And I don't think any intelligent human being who plays football would ever go to Colorado with the state that it's in with Deion and his Mary. And again, I love Deion Sanders. He's one of my favorite players of all time. But he's a total moron as a coach, and his coaching staff is even worse. So someone that considers Colorado, it's not a be-all, end-all, but it's something where I'm very cognizant of it because if you're considering Colorado, it's like I just can't really take you seriously as a football player. Oregon, I can. I think Oregon's one of the best programs in the country. I think that they've got the best NIL in the country. So if you're just chasing the bag, Oregon's a great consideration. And he's considering SC. Who had the worst defense in the history of mankind last year. But what are your thoughts on Derek Harmon, a kid that is he'd be an impact guy for Ohio State for sure?
Yeah, well, I look at these things as kind of it's kind of like a litmus test in terms of how serious of a player are you, and anybody that goes to Colorado is a serious college football player, and I'm sorry, that's a clown show. So if you want to be a clown and put yourself in the little car and come out with all the other 25 clowns or bounce a ball on your nose or whatever you want to do, go to Colorado. So anybody that goes to Colorado, I don't even give a second thought to because I know that we're never going to hear from them again. We're not going to hear from them about being a football player, being a serious football player, certainly not in terms of the national championship picture. And that's really all that I care about. Now, the other two schools, USC, Oregon, I think those are viable options. And, I think serious guys have got to consider those places because, while SC had a bad defense, it's still a premier program, still got a chance to, be on the rise, make a big improvement. Oregon, I mean, Oregon might be the second best program in the country right now, behind Ohio State. So Oregon is certainly a serious option. But I think these things generally work themselves out for the best. For Ohio State, I think you just got to stay in on all these players because they'll make the choice that kind of fits them, but they'll also make the choice that fits for Ohio State. Because if it's just about the bag, don't come here. If it's just about clout or whatever else you're doing, don't come here. But if you want to play winning football, if you want to be developed and get a decent NIL chunk of money, then Ohio State's a great option. So, I know Ohio State likes him. I know that when he came in the visit, they were favorably inclined, and they've been reaching out and trying. But they'd like to get this commitment. But I think these things generally work out for the best. And we'll see. We'll see if he's giving Ohio State buying signals here over the next 24, 48 hours. We'll see if he's leaning forward, or we see if he wants to go join the circus in Boulder. And if he does, then we'll wish him well, but we'll know that he's not any threat to Ohio State. So say la vie. But we'll be monitoring this one closely over the next day or two to see how much traction there is for this, because I think it's going to come to a head rather quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a guy that needs Ohio State a lot more than Ohio State needs him. Again, he'd be great depth behind our top two with Tyreek and with Hamilton. But is he the guy? Is he the game wrecker? I don't think so. I think he's more of a rotational guy. I think that he would be much better suited in a rotation just because he doesn't have to carry the water like he is at Michigan State. He's more of a pass rusher. But, again, the thing about modern college football with the NIL era is like these guys that are average get bank because the superstars usually get locked up by the current home team NIL programs. So kids like this who are kind of like under the radar, but again, he's just a guy. Like he's at Michigan State. Would he be a nice ad for Ohio State? Sure. Would he be like adding like some super Myles Garrett to our defensive end rotation or our Aaron Donald to our D tackle rotation? No. But again, when you're surfing around looking for guys that are depth pieces and guys that can contribute and be in the rotation, like he'd be a great fit. But we whiffed on Tywone Malone. Tywan's got another, or Taiwan or whatever, not Tywone Lannister, but he's got like another year to prove me wrong. But like he's been unplayable thus far. And again, I don't like going in on kids. Especially when a kid played baseball and he had these illusions of grandeur where he could play Division I baseball and Division I football at the same time, which is as idiotic and as stupid of a thing as I've ever seen in my life. But he came to Ohio State. He looks great in individual workout videos where he's all ripped up and he's hand fighting with his little personal trainer dude. But like when he actually gets in the game, he gets thrown into the ether, which isn't what you need. So this is a kid. There would immediately be an upgrade. He would immediately be one of our top 3 defensive tackles. I think that's why Ohio State's pursuing him. But again, you get into this. The second portal is like liquid death. It is like this is like you're leaving the club in Las Vegas. The lights come on. There's nothing to go home with, and you're looking at this guy, and you're just like, God bless. I gotta overpay to get this guy to come with me, and that's kind of where we're at. It's like there's not big time prospects at that time of the portal window because this is the second portal. Like the first portal is, I think, a much more significant portal because there's kids they want to go through winter conditioning, they want to go through spring ball. This kid strikes me as a drama queen. He hit the portal in December. He hit it again last week. Which that's a big red flag for me. This guy will quit on you. But again, in a short-term 7-month sprint that Ryan Day's about to be in with this team, he could be effective. He could be a guy that could help us. Again, I'm not sure what this says about our young defensive tackles, but I think some of them have better get on their horse and get going and start earning their scholarship checks. And this is a kid that if we got him, he'd be our third guy immediately, if not our second guy. So it'll be very interesting. Like I said, I don't know. Like I like fortifying the roster, but I also, this guy's not going to be a world beater. And again, guys that are at his position at defensive tackle, It's like offensive tackle. If a guy's gonna be a world beater, you're gonna pay a fortune to get him here. And this guy's kind of just a guy, kind of a plugger, undrafted free agent next year in the draft. I'd take money on that, and he'll end up, somewhere, and someone will overpay for him. And if it's us, great, and if it's not, it's not. So yeah, Nevada, we've got a couple of super chats. Do you want to? Do you have any rebuttals on what I was saying?
Well, yeah, I think, I'm a little more bullish on pieces than maybe you are. I just, I'm a football historian, as you know, and I just think for a 16, 17 game season, it's going to be your rotational guys that help get you there, and it's going to be your second team guys and your third team guys, and your guys who can step in. So I'm not saying this guy's going to lead us to a national championship and sit in the float and sing Carmen, Ohio, or anything else like that, but it is the second portal season, and in the second portal season, you are looking for completely different things than you are in the first one. The first one, you're looking for premier players. You're looking for Caleb Downs and Will Howard and Seth McLaughlin. That's the kind of guys you're looking for. But to me, this is the perfect type of piece you're looking for in a second portal season. A guy that can play, a guy that can be in the two deep, a guy that can provide you with valuable minutes should somebody get hurt. A guy that can be a rotational, piece for you as you're kind of getting deeper into the season. And I've said this 100 times, but I will say it again. We've never faced a season like this before. No Ohio State team has ever faced what the 2024 team is going into right now, because they've never been in an expanded playoff. So they've never faced a run of Michigan, Oregon, and then potentially 4 ranked playoff games after that. So six games in a row against ranked opponents. We've never faced anything quite like this before. And if you're going to do it and you're going to go through it, guys are going to get hurt. Guys are going to be banged up. You're not going to be able to play, JT and Jack, every snap, or Tyleek and Ty Hamilton. They're not going to be able to go, every time like we did last year. You're going to have to rotate guys. So for me, is this a critical, vital, we got to have when we don't, I'm going to line up in the ledge piece? No, but I want to make it unfair. And how do you make it unfair? You assemble as many pieces as you can, get as many assets as you can, and I think he'd be an asset. So the fact he's been in the portal a couple times doesn't bug me. I mean, heck, the Miami of Ohio kicker had been in the portal twice, and we were ready to drive down there to pick him up and throw him in the car and drive him up to Columbus and stuff like that. So I'm going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt, and I hope he goes to Ohio State, because we could use another piece. But like I said, if he doesn't, hey, we move on. We go with the guys that we have. But hey, make it unfair. That's what I always say.
What are the odds you think we actually get this kid?
25%.
That's good. I mean, I was thinking like 5%, so I was going on a little bit harder, but we'll see. I mean, I just think that if kids, here's the thing, like if I'm recruiting, and I'm being serious right now, if I'm recruiting a kid and in his top 4 he has Colorado, then it's almost like I just want to like punt that and just say, hey, you know what, we're gonna dodge a bullet here, because he's actually seriously considering. And again, I grew up loving Deion Sanders, but the caricature that he is now at Colorado it's one of the funniest transformations I've ever seen in my life, because they were they were trash last year, and they had a top 10 NFL draft pick quarterback, top 5 cornerback / wide receiver, and Deion ran them right into the side of the mountain. So if a kid is still considering them, I'm just like, it's almost like an intelligence test to me. Like if my kid was actually good enough to be considered by Colorado and he's old enough and that kind of thing, and he considered going to play for that, then I'm just like, yeah, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you should just go play intramurals or something, because it's almost like an intelligence test with Colorado. So it's like Colorado, Oregon, us, and maybe return to Michigan State. And I'm just like, so you also might return for a second time to Michigan State, which it just screams that you're a drama queen, which is fine. You're allowed to be a drama queen. I get it. It's NIL season. Everybody's chasing their bag. Everybody has to have their, gallery department like $6,000 hoodies and their like rhinestone Louboutin shoes. And then they show up on the field and they stink. So we'll see. But again, I don't want to go in on this kid because could he be a Buckeye? Sure. Did he turn down the Buckeyes in December? Yes. Would he be an asset for our defense? Of course. Because again, in a 17-game season, you can't have enough interior defensive players. And that's why like Tywone Malone has to start eating his Wheaties and stop just counting his NIL money and actually go play football. And guys like Hero Canoe and some of these guys that are in year 2 and year 3, they got to get going. Because we're going to need these guys. It's a long season. Guys are going to get hurt. Guys are going to be getting double teamed and pulverized. And, we still don't know who our third defensive tackle is into the game after Ty Hamilton and Ty Leak get pounded for 2 straight downs. So it'll be very interesting. So we'll get into some super chats. Jermaine Goings, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, my man. Not one of the 5 quarterbacks on our roster hit the transfer portal. Do you think that any of the quarterbacks made a bad decision by not transferring? Nevada, I will let you go first. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, one, I think it's an absolutely amazing accomplishment by Ohio State to have kept all 5 guys. I would have set the line on all 5 of them being here at the end of the portal season as much lower than that, just because it's 5 guys. And, 4 of the guys have got multiple years of eligibility left. And so it's a crowded room. So for Ohio State to have pulled that off, I think it's remarkable. Do I think any of them made a mistake by not leaving? I don't, just because with the expanded coaching involvement that they're allowing with the rules, and the fact that you've got Chip Kelly and Ryan Day there to learn from, as a quarterback in terms of your development, whether your development path ends here at Ohio State or it ends somewhere else, somewhere down the line in your college career, there's no better foundation you can lay than learning from those 2 guys. So do I think any of them made a mistake? I don't. Do I think it's amazing that Ohio State kept them? I do. Am I happy about that? I am. So like I said, I think it's just another indication of the kind of, I'll say the word control, but whatever the word is that Ryan Day has on this program right now, whatever the opposite of guys leaving and fleeing and a bad culture, that's where Ryan Day's at. He kept all 5 quarterbacks in that quarterback room when it would have been easy for guys to clear out, and they didn't. They're buying what Ryan Day is selling, and I think that's a very, very positive thing for Ohio State and for Ryan Day, and I'm excited about it.
You are the eternal optimist, aren't you?
Well, what's there to be I mean, look, I'm the ultimate realist when it comes to Ohio State, because it's like, what's there to be upset about? I mean, it'd be like, hey, you're in Vegas and it's 80 degrees and you're playing golf, and then you're going to go to SDK, and you're going to go out to a club, and you're going to go back to your 10,000-foot suite or something, and you're like, hey, is today any good? And you're like, yeah, it's pretty good. And you're so optimistic. No, life is great. I mean, as an Ohio State fan, who's got it better than we do? Nobody.
Look at you, your boy. You're chilling your boy.
I am.
Hey, what if we had all that stuff and then JJ McCarthy showed up with Justin Jefferson in the suite throwing 7-on-7 1-on-1s?
Then it would ruin the day, because he would throw the ball so high he'd break one of the windows or something like that with his scatter arm that he's got going on right there.
He'd go to Sapphire and just go meditate under the pole. He'd go say, hey, I got to be on the stage. I have to walk on the stage with the pole.
Now you put me in a bad mood. Now you ruined my day.
He's going to sit there. He's going to do feng shui under the pole. And those girls that are trying to make rent are going to come spinning down that pole, and they're going to bop him right in the head, and they're going to be like, oh, I should have never been here. I should have been in Minnesota.
Today was going so good, and then you ruined it with all that J.J. McCarthy stuff, though.
My God. Well, he sucks. He sucks.
Yeah.
I told you he sucks.
Yeah. Okay.
I told you he sucks.
For you guys that were For you people that were
Run it
listening
back
to the
from
show
yesterday.
yesterday,
Oh my God, here we go.
run back the YouTube. Here's the great thing about the internet is that the internet, it's all there forever and ever. And you guys can run that back and save this because Kirk is going to delete that episode and he's going to it's going to go to the thing and we're going to be able to find it.
I'm going to amplify it. I'm going to have a bigger audience watch it. I might screen it at Sundance Film Festival.
I love it. Let's do
They'll
it.
be sitting there just like, does JJ have the best situation in the league? Well, he has Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson. I mean, that's better. Like, if you're Drake May and you're throwing it to like Josh McDaniels' kid and Bill O'Brien's kid, and then you look at like what a guy is walking to Justin Jefferson, I'm just like, it's a pretty good situation. So, do I think JJ stinks? Yes. Do I think he needs to be his head shaved? Yes. But does he have Justin Jefferson? Also, yes. So again, I think these guys, like CJ did not have a true monster number one receiver at Houston, but he had Larry Tunsil, who's probably the best left tackle in the NFL. He had a pretty decent line. His running backs stunk, and he has some okay guys at receiver, but CJ threw darts, and CJ was almost the MVP. He probably should have been the MVP of the league last year based on what he did with how bad Houston was. But now he's got Steph Diggs. He's got Tank Dell. Like, now there's no excuses. Like, CJ's going to be going crazy this year with Steph Diggs. So I'm excited about it. In terms of what Jermaine said, not one of the 5 quarterbacks in the roster hit the transfer portal. Do you think that any of the quarterbacks made a bad decision by not transferring? Well, I think Devin being the true number 2 made a good decision by not transferring. Again, his best option was Iowa. So it's like, if you want to go to Iowa, it's like do you want to leave the Cosmopolitan because you didn't get your amazing suite room and go stay at the Days Inn? Probably not. So, for me, I just think that with Devin, he didn't have any options. I mean, his option was going to be to compete for the job at Iowa, and that was it. So, again, Kyle McCord, who started every game last year, he was one throw away from us playing, whoever is the 1 seed in the play. I mean, if Kyle hits that throw at the end of the Michigan game, we're the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Like, we beat the brakes off of whoever we play in the Big Ten title game. We're the 1 seed in the playoffs. And Kyle McCord is like lauded as his free quarterback. And Kyle stunk. Like, I thought Kyle was one of the worst quarterbacks in Ohio State history. He hits the portal. And he proves me right because he goes to Syracuse, which lost their bowl game 45-0. Kyle's standing there in his little sweatshirt, little hoodie, Syracuse orange mint on. And so, he was the 3rd team all Big Ten quarterback last year. And it was Syracuse. And so where would Devin be? And again, I'm not trying to crap on Devin, but if our starter that beat Devin out was, going to Syracuse, who lost 45-0 to South Florida, which, most people don't even know South Florida exists. Where's Devin going to end up? Devin's best offer was Iowa. And I think Lincoln's best offer was Iowa. So it's if you want to go die in quarterback hell, you can go play at Iowa. So, I think that some of these guys, a lot of these guys in the transfer portal, are as faithful as their options. Kyle McCord didn't have some smooth ride through the portal. He went to Nebraska and it was all hot and bothered there. And then all of a sudden Dylan Rail was like, hey, I'm going to flip from Georgia, and Nebraska punted him out of there like an ugly girl in the club in your section. And then all of a sudden he's like, well, maybe I'll try Syracuse. And Syracuse, they stink. They're one of the worst teams in the entire country, and they get a new coach, and they're going to try to fake being excited. And the one thing I want to say about Syracuse, their schedule is absolute trash. They dodge Florida State, Clemson, and all the good teams in that conference. But I'm just saying, man, you end up at Syracuse, man, you don't have Marvin Harrison and Dwight Freeney there anymore. You've got a lot of bad players around you. And to go from Marvin and Emeka and Cade Stover and Trey Henderson to Syracuse is kind of where the rubber meets the road. So if you're worse than that kid, like Devin was by definition, because he did not start, he ends up at Iowa. So I just don't, at some point you're just I think I'm just going to ride it out. If we're going to run Will Howard this year, there's a lot of potential he could get hurt. Again, this isn't me being crazy, but I've seen Craig Krenzel get hurt. I've seen Braxton Miller get hurt. I've seen JT Barrett get hurt. It's just kind of what comes kind of with the game. So, could Devin have a huge role in the season? Absolutely. I mean, dude, Ryan Davis talking about Julian Saint playing against Oregon and Penn State and Michigan, and I'm like, dude, like Devin's in line before he is. So unless our quarterbacks both get knocked out, like I don't think Julian plays meaningful rush. But I think that Will Howard, will play and be really good because Ryan is basically staking his career on him, and they paid him like that. And then I think that if he gets dinged, Devin's got to be ready to go. So why would you leave a loaded offense to go play at Iowa, which is where players with skill go to die? So this is my opinion. But I think sports, they didn't have options. And again, that's just part of the portal and just being realistic. Why not today? Like for the 5. Hey, Nevada, you got any other guys besides Dogstown Poppy used for betting? Michigan under 9 wins. Is that a lock for this year?
Yeah, well, it's not under 9. It's under 9.5. Michigan under 9.5 wins is a lock. Texas minus 2.5 is a lock. Ohio State, you could have gotten it at 3. You could have gotten it at 6. I think it's now at 10.5 in the Michigan game. Obviously, I liked it more at 3 and 6, but I still think it's a lock. I think Ohio State's going to beat the brakes off those guys. Do I have anybody else other than Dagestan Poppy is the best? I mean, here's the problem with handicappers. With handicappers, everybody lies. They give out, pick. They'll say call this number and get a pick, and half the people that call get one side, half the people get another side. There's all sorts of games they play. Dagestan Poppy plays it straight, books all his action there online. You can see all the picks are tracked, and you can see what he's done, and he's up 100 and something units. Over 40% ROI on his bets, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, good bettors for 3 or 5%. So he is definitely somebody that Kirk and I both heartily endorse. But it's hard to find guys like that. So do I have anybody else? I really don't, because I think 99.9% of the touts and people that put stuff out are completely full of it. There are some good ones, but very, very few and far between. But Dagestan Poppy is a gem for sure.
Is he actually from Dagestan or lives in Dagestan, or did he just claim Dagestan?
I think he just claims Dagestan, just like like you claim being from Florida. He claims being from Dagestan. You know what I'm saying?
He's never been to that. I live in Florida for 10 years.
Yeah, well, that's when you were like a little sprout, man. That's when you were like a little nublet.
Could he like? I mean, honestly, if you blindfolded him and said, "Hey, pick Dagestan out on the map right now,"
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure he has an idea, but like, I mean, Russia's a big country.
He could find it on a map for sure. There's no question about it.
Like an unlabeled map, not one that says Dagestan in big bold print.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it'd be like throwing you down there in Florida.
Naples Buckeye. Oh, are you from Naples? Like, yes.
Are you from Naples? Naples, Italy. You're like,
I was in Naples when Naples sucked. Nobody knew what Naples was in Ohio. Now everyone in Columbus is like, oh, I go down to Naples. It's so cool. Have you ever heard of Naples? Like, yeah, I was there for 10 years. Like when it was like nothing. It was like when you moved to Manhattan Beach, like it wasn't like today. It was like when your boy from Blow was there and he was like Tuna and him are on the beach in an apartment for $50 a month. Big difference.
Those were the good old days, man.
Those were the great days. Pooh Bear 12, thanks for being off member. Thanks for the 20. Appreciate you, brother. Looking at the number of snaps per game with the new clock rules, if 2024 OSU plays 16 to 17 games, Nevada, it would equal the number of snaps of the 2014 champs. It is an extra 1 to 2 weeks of games worse, even if the number of snaps is the same. Do you think of this all day, Pooh Beard, when you come up with a question like this, where it's like 17 games with fewer snaps versus 14 where we probably played more snaps, but we only played, 15 games or whatever it was. Like,
yeah. But I think here's the thing.
It's a great question.
It's a great question, but I think it's like relief pitchers. Like relief pitchers, they talk about how many times they go in and throw pitches, but you don't remember how many times they warm up and how much how many times they torque their arm just throwing stuff, getting ready to go out there and warm up. Same thing with football. With football, it's not just about the snaps in the game because the fact that we took 95 snaps against Akron to me is not meaningful. The wear and tear on the body goes from having to play 16 or 17 weeks in a row essentially where you're having to prepare at a high level, including practice, and get yourself ready to play those games on Saturday. And I, I mean, I think challenging games, challenging reps are just way more stressful, way more apt to get injury than reps when you're up 56-0 against Youngstown State. So that's just my personal opinion. But I would defer to the All-American on this one. Be interested to hear your answer on this one.
Well, I think that it's a great question. Again, Pooh Beard, you bring the heat every time we're on the show. So I appreciate you, my man, as always. Thanks for being an ultra member. But I think that as the games get tougher, the stops obviously count more. You're not going to blow out teams at the end of the season. Like when we're playing like Oregon again, obviously Michigan's at the end of the deal, and then the playoffs, like you're not like in the playoffs, like you don't see the benches get emptied unless it's some TCU versus Michigan type massacre like we saw 2 years ago. So I just think that it's not the same because the starters have to carry the workload in the versus those better teams where things are tighter. If it was like, hey, we got all these extra games and they're playing Akron and Bowling Green and teams that stink, then yeah, you can empty the bench and get the walk-ons in and get the tuba players in, whatever. So I think it's a much heavier workload on the players. It's an NFL style workload where, in the NFL, man, they're playing 17 games a year now with a bye week, and the starters play the whole games. Like in the league, like when you blow a team out 70-0, like the starting offensive line is still in the game. They don't have 30 guys on the sideline that they can sub in. When you're in the league, I mean, they draft 7 guys every week on the offensive line. So if you're like some superstar, if you're Trent Williams, some superstar left tackle, they'll put in the backup tackle. But otherwise, man, you're playing the whole game. It doesn't matter how big the score is or whatever. So I think that it's going to be harder on the starters because, again, you're playing big time games. You're playing another game against Michigan, another game against Oregon. So it's going to be a war. It's going to be a battle. That's my opinion. But Pooh, that's a great question. I appreciate you, my man. Naysayer 23, thank you for the deuce. Because to go get your free Krispy Kreme Nevada OH. I don't know what that means. Because they go get your free Krispy Kreme. Nevada, do you like Krispy Kreme? Do you go get your free Krispy Kreme? Do you know what this question
I think
is?
I think there's some sort of like promotion where you get free Krispy Kreme or something like that. I think that it's
For
referencing
what?
it, and like it's like there's some day you can get a donut or something like that. But yeah, I used to live when I lived on the 14th and Wilshire in Santa Monica. There was like a Krispy Kreme donut. Like I could hit a wiffle ball from my condo to the Krispy Kreme. And they used to had that little light that would come on when like the donuts were coming out hot and stuff like that. And those were good times, man. Just like going there and just pile off. When those donuts come out fresh and you just knock through a quick dozen or so or something, man, those are good times. But I like Krispy Kreme, but I think it's kind of gone downhill because now you can buy them in the stores. And if you buy Krispy Kreme donuts at like Vons or Ralph's or something like that, and you're not getting it in the store, you're not getting it made fresh coming right off the line, then it's just not the same thing. So for Krispy Kreme, getting those free ones, I'm not sure if it's a free donut or a free dozen donuts or whatever it is, but there's some sort of promotion going on right now. I saw it on Instagram Reels earlier today. I'm not sure what the exact promotion is, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's referencing is some sort of get a free donut at Krispy Kreme thing.
Free donuts. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a free dozen donuts.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. Exactly.
Nevada, there was no way if you were like a franchise like shareholder that you would be giving out free donuts. I don't because you're very Grinch like when it comes to that type of thing. But like giving out free donuts is
Well, I don't give out free anything. I was raised from a marketing standpoint that said that once you give away something for free, and if people think it's like, oh, it's a taste test, they'll try it and then they'll like it and they'll want to buy it. I'm of the opinion that once you've devalued your product and given it away for free, that it's really hard for people to pay for it. And I'd much rather build value and charge more than I would cut price and charge less. But that's how I feel about donuts the same way. I'd rather do a buy one get one free thing than give away
Yeah.
a free donut. But
Well, yeah,
that's
because
just the
then
way that I
people,
look.
people get conditioned to buying stuff from you, as opposed to just
Exactly.
handing
And
it to them and then they just run away
yeah,
and say. So like it's like get a dozen donuts for free at Krispy Kreme. If you was introduced on April 30th, the bakeries are giving away a dozen glazed donuts for free to new members. So it's basically like a scheme to get you to sign up for their app and sign up, give them your email address so they can, pepper you with push notifications or whatever. New and old members alike are getting a dozen days of deals through May 11th. Those deals include free coffee and donuts. Well, like I don't know. Like, I mean, to me, like obviously you don't feel guilty eating a free dozen donuts, but like it's an interesting deal. They're trying to gain market share on their app. Their app is, and again, this is part of what they do in Nevada. Like, you're a marketing guy, you're a wizard. You've done a lot of stuff with the Dayton Dragons. Krispy Kreme's finest hour on the Apple App Store is right now. They are the number one app, or excuse me, they're currently is the most popular free iPhone app in America, over Google, over TikTok, over the rest of the world. So, again, like, to you, would that be worth it if you're just like giving out millions of free donuts, which I'm sure it's what it is, to get an app on the top of the charts on the Apple Store? Because again, I don't know. Like, is that worth it to you? It
well,
probably isn't.
look, look, it's just, I mean, everything in life is right now is a data grab, and find out what a new an applicant, uh, app holder, name, whatever is worth to you, and then you just factor that relative to a dozen donuts, your net dead cost on a dozen donuts, and figure if that's worth it. I mean, look, a lot of businesses started. I mean, Amazon started their entire business basically losing money. All they were doing was acquiring lists of people of buyers and trying to get as many buyers as they could. And now everybody in the world buys everything from Amazon. DoorDash was the same way. DoorDash basically gave away their service almost for free in the beginning to learn your eating habits and get everybody's names and addresses, and then they could go back. And now they charge the restaurants up, or they charge the fees more, and that's how they're doing it. Same thing with Uber. So I just think that they're following the pattern. They know how much a name is worth to them, a name and a unique email address, something that it can give push notifications to. So, look, I'm always a fan of clever marketing. Giving away a free dozen donuts would certainly get me to get the Krispy Kreme app. So, yeah, they seem to know what they're doing.
Hey, I mean, anything to make like a straight diabetes trap popular in modern times
Yeah.
is actually, I mean, it's actually pretty amazing. So shout out to Krispy Kreme. Glad you guys are doing the thing. Patriot, thank you for the 20. Appreciate you, my man. Some for the troops. We signed up a couple more troops in the last couple of days. I appreciate all of our first responders, all of our veterans, all of our police officers who are fighting the good fight, keeping this country safe, and keeping the Looney Tunes off college campuses. So I appreciate that. So I appreciate you, Patriot. Some for the troops. Kirk, my surprise player this year is going to be TC Caffey. He's from up here in the Youngstown area and was outstanding. That'd be great. It'd be kind of terrifying if he's got a major role because he's the number 4 running back, and that means that Trey and Quinshawn and James Peoples have all been dinged. But that'd be awesome. Again, I'm not against a walk-on having a big role for us, but it means that there's going to be a catastrophe in front of him on the depth chart. So I think TC has earned the respect of people. I think that with Dallin taking off, obviously he's the number 4 guy. And again, it sounds crazy. People say, Kirk, who cares about 4th string? Well, at running back, like, we've had more guys get hurt and die than I've ever seen. So TC might have a role this year. So Nevada, your thoughts? Patriot says some for the troops. His surprise player, CC Caffey. He's from up here in Youngstown, and he was outstanding. Your thoughts on that?
He was great all spring. I mean, he was a guy. It's funny. We talked about yesterday. We talked about guys that have got mentions and some guys that just did not get a mention. I can tell you, TC Caffey got mentions. As crazy as it sounds, I know he's the fourth running back. I know he's a walk on. I know guys like that shouldn't, have meaningful roles. I'm not saying he's going to have a big role or, I'm not sure he's going to win the game and rush for 200 yards. But he got mentioned. He got mentioned as a guy that was productive, that was opportunistic, that really worked hard. The guys like him. The coaches respect him. And, again, we don't need to prattle on about how long his season is or how challenging it's going to be, but it's going to be long. And it's not like we haven't got to our fourth running back before. I mean, heck, we were, the final play that we had like Mitch Rossi in there and Xavier Johnson and, we go through running backs here at Ohio State, liberally, and getting your fourth running back is certainly not out of the question. And I think if his number's called to fill in some emergency thing, I think he'll do a good job. So I think that's as good a surprise player as anyone for sure. I like him a lot.
Yeah, that'll be an ultra surprise. So I hope that we don't have to see him, but if we do, I'm sure he'll do a good job. D, anything for the five? If a player is a good teammate but does have a clear path to the field, will the coaching staff help him land somewhere? Well, I mean, I think so. I mean, I kind of feel like that's what it was like with Julian Fleming. I mean, Julian was a kid that was the number one receiver in the country. Obviously, he stunk when he was here. He was a good blocker and good teammate. But like when you're the number one receiver in the country, I mean, they're thinking you're going to be Marvin or J.J. Smith or a guy who's a dominant force from day one. But and again, I'm sure I'm being hard on him. I'm sure that the softies will come out and say, "Oh, Kirk, you're being mean and whatever." But when you're the number one guy in the country, I mean, you got to be like a 3-and-out guy, top 10 pick, like Marvin was, who was not that guy or Emeka or whoever. But I think if you're good and the coaches like you, they'll make a call for you. They'll hump you. If you're a turd, they'll just flush you down the toilet and be happy that you left. But I'm sure the staff will help guys that they like, especially if it's a guy who's way down the depth chart. I mean, the problem with Julian is like I don't know how much Brian Hartline and Ryan Day will help him when they're going to see him this year in Happy Valley, and he's going to be their number one receiver. And Penn State's the only other candidate to be the number one receiver transferred out. So I don't know how much Brian and those guys want to help those guys. Imagine not at all. But if you're like down the list, you're the fifth string receiver, you're walk on. If you're Sam Wigloos or whatever the kid was from OU, like I'm sure Brian helped place him and did all he could as a reference. But I think this depends on your circumstance and where you're trying to go. Nevada, your thoughts on that? D. Sunny asks, if your player is a good teammate but doesn't have a path to the field, will the Ohio State football coaching staff help them land somewhere?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. It's not like you would think where like the coaches are out there working the phones and calling and finding a place and they're then handing you a sheet of paper and going, call this guy, he's ready to take it. I think it's more that if you're a good guy and you're leaving in good standing, if the other coach is called to kind of do a reference check on you, because you have to remember the coaching community is a fraternity. These guys have all coached together or played together. There's 2 degrees of separation between every coach on your staff and every coach on every other staff in college football. So if somebody wants to know what kind of kid you are, what kind of student you are, what kind of teammate you are, whatever, they're going to call or have somebody call on their behalf and say, hey, we're looking at this kid. What do you think? And if you're in good stead, the Ohio State staff won't kill you. And, do it, but they're probably not spending a lot of time working the phones finding for you a place to go, but they'll certainly give you a good reference on the way out.
I mean, I think that's just it's kind of a commonality in life. I think if if you're a worker, but maybe something's over your skis or maybe you're not a good fit and you do the right things and, maybe, because again, it's usually a two-way street. If you're trying to move on, there's probably a portion of the staff that wants to move on from you so they can get some new blood in here. And like Julian Fleming's the guy that I'm sure they would have kept around for another year. They would have liked him. But Is he going to be better than JJ Smith? Probably not. Is that going to be kind of a consternation when you've got JJ, who's clearly a billion times better than Julian Fleming was? Like you're probably going to trot Julian out there as a senior and do the thing with him being the ceremonial guy, but JJ's got more talent in his big toe than Julian has his whole body. So it's like eventually you're going to say, hey, let's get serious and get JJ in here, and then you're benching a senior, and then you get the locker room stuff. So Julian moving on was best for all parties involved, and I'm glad that he found a good home. He went back to his home state, and is what it is. Lee McAllister, thank you for the 5. Thunder, Quinshon, and Lightning at Trey Henderson. Make history repeat itself. OSU, the first BCS championship. OSU, first new playoff era championship. Nevada, OH.
I-O.
Nevada, is this running back duo going to lead us to a national championship?
I think we're one of the favorites. I mean, I wouldn't bet against us for sure. And it's the best running back tandem that I can ever remember at Ohio State, and we've had some good ones. We've had some great ones, in fact. But Quinshon and Trey's, this is going to be one of those like Lendale White, Reggie Bush type of setups, and I do like the symmetry of first college football playoff and first college football expanded playoff. Why not? That's the way life works sometimes, and I wouldn't bet against Ohio State in any game this year. I can tell you that. I think we'll be favored in every game, and it's going to take a mighty effort to beat us. That's for sure.
Totally agree. Sloth Nation, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, Nevada. Did you ever get any behind the scenes stuff from that Friday? The Pac-12 fell. I was curious if you got the scoop from behind the scenes and how close it was to actually staying alive. Nevada, your thoughts on the Pac-12 dying on the vine?
No, I didn't from that day, but I mean that thing had been, that thing was dead for a long time, and it was interesting because it seemed that the commissioner George was one of the last guys to know that because everybody else knew it was gone, but it was gone. The Pac-12 it died as soon as USC left. It was over because that was the Pac-12, and for them, they couldn't survive that. That was a mortal blow. They were dead already. It's like the body's dead. They just don't know it yet, and they keep pumping along there. When Oregon and Washington left, by then it was just a matter of, life support and pulling the plug. But once USC left, and there was just no path forward for them. I mean, for USC, they'd be leaving, $50 million a year on the table. They weren't going to do that. That was a story that we were really, really close to. We literally had that story before anyone, local media, national media, bloggers, anybody. We had that story. I remember us talking about it, and I'd see the chats light up with no way, USC's not going to the Big Ten. It's like, yes, they are, guys. We're telling you, this is happening, and sure enough, it did. But it really there wasn't a lot of drama. It was just economics. It was the Pac-12 deal was worth $50 million a year less than what they're getting in the Big Ten, and you just can't ratchet. There's no way that you can make a case for staying there when the disparities in the numbers is that big. I mean, loyalty will only take you so far. Tradition will only take you so far. You can't do that in modern college football. They knew the writing was on the wall. They had to move on, and they died. And I'm telling you right now, the ACC is going to suffer a similar fate. And how's it going to happen? A little first, and then all at once, and it's going to be gone. And people are going to go, "Wow, what happened to the ACC?" And we're going to be like, "We told you it was gone." So they are at the point that the Pac-12 was before they lost USC. They're on life support. Once Florida State goes, gonzo, bullet in the head, and they're in Clemson, and then they're gone. So that's my call. Final answer.
And that has to be on a T-shirt. A little bit at first, then all at once. The Nevadabuck, the Granny Nevada quote. It's like when you sit down at STK, like you sit down and like a little bit of food comes out, and then it all comes out at once, and you're just like, "Kill me now." Man. There's like
kill me.
75,000. There's like, I mean, am I wrong? Is there not 35,000 calories sitting here? And it's just like, just give my dude vodka tonics. Like, give him like 17 vodka tonics, and he'll be fine. He'll be good. He's like an ocean. He's like flounder in the aquarium of life, right there at that point. Flounder from Ariel and Little Mermaid. I'm just telling you, like, you don't need 17,000 carbs in your life when you're doing that. But appreciate my homies. Love you, Luis, and I love you, Edgar. Appreciate you, boys. Sloth Nation, thanks for the 5. Kirk, are you surprised we've been offering more Alabama-based recruits as someone from the state? I'm happy the Buckeyes are starting to recruit here. Well, it was always a total waste of time versus Nick Saban. Again, like, you know, you have to know who and what and where and whatever. But like Nick Saban owned that state, and he was the god of that state. The Elephant Club ran that state. But with the new guy in town, like, I mean, he's not from down there. He's not a Southerner. He's a Yankee. So, and Carlos Loughlin is from Pike Road, which is Montgomery. So he offered another running back from Pike Road. Who's from Pike Road? Oh, I don't know, Quinshon Judkins. So again, there's more inertia and there's more of the train tracks leading up into that part of the country when they can say, hey, we got these kids from Alabama that came to Ohio State and they love it. I know that every good player in the history of Alabama for the last 20 years has gone roll tide roll to Nick Saban and they've become first round picks or whatever. But now, like with Carlos, you know, like Carlos is from down there and Carlos wants to go down there, he wants to go see his mom, go see his family. So he might as well go recruit it because there's certain states where, like, you know, we wouldn't even send guys to Louisiana and Alabama back in the day because we had no ties there, and it's going to be a waste of time, waste of money. It's not the most, you know, luxurious place to travel to. But with Carlos, who's from down there, like, he's got ties, and you don't know what coaches he knows, which coaches are going to help him. So I think that it's fruitful to do it just because of what Carlos has done. Nevada, your thoughts? Sloth asked me, are you surprised they're offering more players from the state of Alabama? And what are your thoughts on that, Nevada? And we will wrap this thing up.
No, I think you nailed it. I think, you know, Saban's gone, and that means everybody's on sale in the state. And Coach Locke is going to go where he's most familiar, and he's very familiar operating in the Deep South in general and in Alabama in particular. So won't be the first offers we make down there. Certainly won't be the last ones. And I expect we'll do really well. Coach Locke's going to, you know, he's going to be, you know, going through that territory hot and heavy, and I think he'll be doing a really nice job with it.
Well, I think it's important, like when you've got guys that are from certain areas, and like he grew up down there, and he played college football in Tennessee, so you know you got to exploit the areas where guys have like some roots, and like, so obviously Carlos is from Pike Road, so you know sending down one of our like pasty face assistants down to Alabama, like probably not super fruitful, but Carlos is from there. I think it'll be absolutely fantastic. Oh, here we go. Akeem the Dream, Treasure the Torah, 20, Ultra member, also Rich brother. Talk to you about this, Doreen. I hope you're ready for it, my girl. Kirk, my brother, it's time to officially bestow my wrench to the Queen, Doreen, aka Asian Posh. Please make it happen. Love, respect, always. Shout out to Nevadabuck, Treasure the Torah. Nevada, do you want to make Doreen a moderator on here? I think she'd be a great moderator. What your thoughts on that?
I hereby grant the wrench. We are not taking the wrench away from anybody else. We are assigning a new wrench. So now we'll have a fourth wrench brother, which even though she's a wrench sister, she'll be, and Kim is not a wrench brother either. But the four wrench brothers will include 2 female wrench brothers and 2 male wrench brothers. So yes, there we go. Doreen gets the wrench. She gets the wrench.
And we're very pro pronouns in here. So he, she, he. So thank you, Nevada, for making that nice and clear for everybody. You know,
they get the wrench. They there.
The girls get the same wrenches as the guys, but they don't have to play in the same basketball league as the guys either. All right, the Blues, thank you for the 5. Your logical Wolverine, still shocked about our miss on Davis. Shouldn't be. Tony Alford is fat and lazy and terrible. Do you think that has more to do with Alford? Yes. NCAA hammered, maybe. Poor NIL, of course, all of it. Yeah, I think it's all of it. But, you know, Tony is the guy that had $1 billion in the club and couldn't pull a chick out of the club to go home with him. So that's kind of how he recruits because he's just that poor at it. So, you know, like when Tony misses on a guy and then cries the blues and has, 7-on-7 coaches bail him out to Ryan Day, like it doesn't surprise me just because he's so ineffective at what he does. So when he left and went to Michigan, I was like, praise Christ. Thank you, Jesus. We can get someone here that does it. I think Carlos Loughlin is a huge upgrade. A lot more energy, a lot less dysfunction, a lot smarter. So I think it's going to be a huge edge. And Carlos hasn't even done it this long, but he's already a huge upgrade from the people I've talked to what he is over Tony Alford. So it's been a big boon. Nevada, are you shocked about the miss? Michigan and their fans are shocked about the miss on Davis, the running back. Do you think that's more to do with Alford, the NCAA hammer, or the poor NIL, or all of it?
Yeah, and first of all, I want to say I appreciate our logical Wolverine friend. It's just Tony Alford. I mean, we've been through that. We lived through 8 years of this. So you are what your record says you are. I don't think people change. I think when people are bad at their job, when they go somewhere else, it's really predictable. It's easy to go. They're going to be bad at their job. So you guys missing on him, dude. Welcome to our world because we lived through that for 8 years. He's not going to change, and you'll be able to make all these excuses: NIL, the hammer, the weather, this, that, global warming, whatever. It's just Tony Alford. It's not that complicated. He's just bad, and you got Alford, so it won't be the last time. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, welcome to our world. It's great. A couple more, and we're gonna wrap this thing up. ZZM, thanks for being ultra. Thanks for the 5. Thoughts on 2-minute warning? I don't think it'll affect anything. Will it affect anything? I don't think it will. Was the guy behind Enoch because of seniority? Because how? Nevada OH.
I
Yeah, I mean, I just think they tried to play Enoch. They tried to help Enoch. Enoch loves Ohio State. He's a great kid. I think he was forced out of the program. I think he was processed for this year to get another guy as a freshman this year. So brutal part of the game, but it is what it is. But Enoch proved that he couldn't play. Nice kid. This was not his level. So hopefully he lands somewhere that is acceptable for him. 2-minute warning. I don't think it'll affect anything. Nevada, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's just going to affect the bottom line of the broadcasters. It's another commercial for them. It's going to take a little bit more like a coaching revision for their brain. One more thing to think about. As for Enoch, again, great kid, just did not have the ability to play here. Couldn't handle it, and I don't say that with any bad intent. This not every. I couldn't play at Ohio State. Burt Carton could play at Ohio State. It's the way of the world. So Enoch couldn't play. He'll go find some place he can, and we wish him nothing but the best.
Yep. I think y'all did a great job. Chocolate Chip Scoochie, last question. What do you think of Kirby's extension? Well deserved. He is the first $13 million a year coach in college football, which I don't even know what that means when Mario Cristobal made $22 million last year per public record. But he is 13 a year. Kirby's the best coach by far in college football right now. So that's probably cheap 10-year, $130 million deal. He probably should be a 10-year, $200 million deal for what he's done. 2 championships. Georgia never won anything for the last 40 years before Kirby got there. So he's well worth every penny. Nevada, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Kirby's a wizard, and I think
Yep.
his agent should be fired for that deal because
Yep.
I think it's below market. But
Yep.
don't cry for me, Kirby, because he'll be okay. He'll be able to make payroll, and we don't need to do a GoFundMe for Kirby. He's going to do fine.
He can get an extra side of ranch for his chicken wings. All right, we're going to wrap this thing up. Nevada, any final thoughts?
Leave us a like on the way out. Really helps us out, and we just appreciate you guys being here so much. And we'll see you tomorrow night.
Appreciate you guys. With that being said, as always, appreciate you guys kicking it with us each and every night. Thank you so much. If you guys enjoy this content, please say like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. Shout out where you guys are watching from. Shout out who you guys are watching with. As always, another great show. We appreciate all that you guys do for the show. Again, spread the good word of Buckeye Scoop. If you guys have not joined BuckeyeScoop.com, it's the meta. It's unbelievable. Our site has been absolutely on fire. The #1 Ohio State site ever. We've passed every metric that you can imagine for every site that's been in existence. So we're just proud of what we've done. Appreciate all of you guys supporting us as always. Thank you for all that. There are no sales at BuckeyeScoop.com. We are a premium outlet, and we take care of everybody, and everybody has a great time. So we appreciate all that you guys do. That being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. I'm going to talk to you guys tomorrow. Go Bucks.